Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special episode of Source Material. Just a quick hit, Source Material. Let me say that. Enunciate, Mark. Enunciate. We're just doing a quick hit here. We want to talk about our experience at Free Comic Book Day this past Saturday. This was May 4th, 2019. Local comic shops around the nation put out some free comic books for all the kiddies and adults to go and get. So, Mark, I know you took your kids. You know, you had yourself a good time. Why don't you kind of tell me all about it? I haven't really had a chance other than I just saw the pictures you posted. Tell me about.
So there are two main comic book stores that I go to. I go to one that's like just a few miles down from my house. It would be my local comic book store. But I also am a member of a comic book store near my in-laws because there's been a few times that I've been up there and I've wanted to be anywhere but at my in-laws' house.
So you made the journey.
I got side-eye from my wife. Yeah, so there's been times where for one reason or another I've wanted to go to the comic book store near my in-laws. So and there happens to be a really nice comic book store over there that I have like a membership card to. So I buy some, get some for half off or free or whatever.
Oh, interesting.
But because we were going to a Kentucky Derby party, which is a whole other podcast.
Oh yeah.
So the comic book store near me is on the smaller side. Like it's a really nice comic book store. It's got tons of trade paperbacks, like just long shelf after long shelf after long shelf of trade paperbacks. The problem is basically it's a grid. It's a tight aisle grid of a store.
Yeah.
So when we got there, it was like 2:00 and we needed to leave at 3:00. And there was a line from the counter around the store all the way to the end of the plaza.
What?
Yeah, to get into the store.
Jeez.
This happened last year, too. And I have to tell you, my son was much better this year than he was last year. Last year, I wanted to leave him in the fucking store and trade him for some paperbacks.
Please.
Like,
That's what they call them trades for.
What will you get me for this sturdy boy?
Just got his hair cut.
Can I get some new 52, please? So they didn't take me up on it. In any case,
damn it.
This year he also had his sister there. Last year I didn't bring my daughter with me. I just brought him.
Yeah.
Not because I'm like, gender biased or anything, but it's just like we were at a picnic with my parents and one of them had to stay and suffer. So I took my son and he was just not wanting to be online. He didn't understand why he was there. It was cold out and there were wolves after him, the whole 9 yards. So this year, him and his sister were there and I kind of told them, threatened them what the rules were before we left, and they were pretty good.
Okay.
So the thing they did this year, which they didn't do last year, was they actually had like free snacks and drinks and water and everything at the front of the line. So that was good, for people who had been standing. I mean, it was shaded, but it was still not exactly, it was pretty warm out, this being Florida and all. But then they also, about halfway down the line, there were boxes of free comics from Free Comic Book Day from years past.
Yeah. They'll usually keep the extras around.
So like my daughter picked up like a bunch of like Archie and Riverdale and stuff like that, and some other stuff I had no idea what it was. From this year, I pretty much went for one thing and one thing only, and that was the Avengers.
Okay.
The lead into Savage Avengers with Conan, which I'm really interested in. So I grabbed that. I grabbed Robotech, because why not? It's free.
Okay.
I grabbed Bloodshot.
Oh, yeah, that's a good Valiant one. That's coming up. They've got a movie coming up, too, don't we?
And that's why I grabbed it. I grabbed Bob's Burgers, again.
Nice.
That one for my wife. I grabbed the Star Wars Adventures.
Okay.
Which I thought maybe my son would want to look at. He can't read yet, but I figured he'd want to look at it. And negative. I picked up the House of X, Marvel Free Previews, issue number 22, which was free.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. I got you.
Okay, and then from the box outside, which is what I was trying to tell you about, which this inspired me. I want to dedicate a whole week to this now. Fight Club. Whatever was given away for Free Comic Book Day in 2015, Fight Club, that's what I picked up. And I picked up a ROM Space Knight.
Oh, my goodness.
From IDW, yeah.
Yep.
That's a Free Comic Book Day
that
one.
Was probably remember when we did the big crossover? It had ROM in it. I bet you that was in that year, or at least after that.
Now try explaining ROM Space Knight to my son, who knows what Transformers are and really loves Transformer toys, and then kept insisting ROM was a Transformer. I'm like, no, he's ROM Space Knight. Now I'm arguing with a 5-year-old. He's ROM Space Knight. He's a Transformer. He's ROM Space Knight, you twat. It's just this one.
Oh, goodness.
So, but here's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
So I gave you a layout of the store.
Oh, boy.
So the back of the store is where they had all the free comic books day stuff. But obviously it's a marketing event, so they want people to shop, except that everyone stays in the single file line to shop. And what if you're just there for the free comics and you're not shopping, right? Well, you still have to wait behind all the people who are perusing the aisles like they've never been in a fucking comic book store before.
Oh, yeah, dude.
It took me like I literally spent almost the entire hour just waiting on this line to the point where like I finally got to where the comics are. And I'm like, could someone please just move so I can grab my fucking Avengers comic and leave? I was like, this has got to be better organized. And then my favorite part was they had somebody working in the store, and I'm like, hey, because I thought it was the Savage Avengers they were giving away for free. No, they were giving away an Avengers comic that was the lead into the Savage Avengers.
Okay.
Now I pieced that together after the fact, but I'm asking the guy, I'm like, hey, do you have any more Savage Avengers? And he goes, oh, I'm just working here just today. And and instead of just saying I don't know anything, I'm just here to make sure no one steals, I would have been like, okay, great, let's you and I agree to not talk to each other anymore.
Uh-oh. Now, what'd you do? Did you become his best friend?
No. He tried to keep helping, and I'm like, you're dumb. You don't know what you're doing. You can't help me. Please stop talking to me. And he kept going, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. You no longer exist to me. You can't help me. Now I find like I'm like that. I find that I'm like that in a lot of situations where like, hi, do you have the answer to my question? No, please drop dead. Just drop fucking dead right now.
What a jerk.
So how was your free comic book day?
Oh, well, my goodness. Well, it certainly wasn't as busy as that one. It sounds like a lot of people hit that comic shop, man. Must have been a lot of people. I mean,
there were, but
dude, when you talk about lines around the blocks and shit, I mean, that was not like what we had at Jordan's. Asylum Comics down here in Marietta. Now, granted, we have probably a significantly less population of comic book readers and people who are interested in comics than, Tampa.
I'm in the suburbs of Tampa.
Okay, all right.
I'm almost into the next county, which is called Polk, where all the pedophiles are.
Oh, where the pedophiles are.
Wait, yeah. If you're into pedophiles and meth, that's Polk County. I live close to there.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, I imagine we have a significantly less population of people who are interested in that stuff. So, we went down to Jordan's, and he had a pretty good turnout. It's definitely way busier than what you'd normally find there on a weekend, and that's, par for the course for Free Comic Book Day. But I had the distinction of my wife sent me a text. She's like, hey, we're coming back. Kira had some dance-related stuff, and she goes, we're all going to go. I was like, oh, really? Okay, so I'm going to take the 3 kids. It's me, the wife, and the 3 kids. We're all going to go to the comic book store. And I was like, well, I don't think this has happened for at least 3 or 4 years. So we rolled down there.
I've never heard you say you do anything with your wife except watch TV. I'm like, well, I am surprised as fuck over here.
It's very rare that we decide to torture ourselves by putting all 3 kids in the car and try to attempt to go somewhere. And I'll tell you, sir, by the end of the 20 minutes that we were there, Mindy was like, we need to go. And she wasn't shy about saying that either. we were at the counter, I'm sitting there talking to Jordan, and we're like, Mindy goes, where's your son? We need to go. I'm sorry. We need to go. I'm like, okay, we'll get going.
What was happening?
Oh, nothing. You just can't keep them all in one spot easy. So, okay, Colton wanted to go and look at every little thing. Of course, they were giving out candy. He had sticky fingers, and he's touching everything. And it was pretty easy to figure out what comics he got by just figuring, he had which comics did Colton get? Well, you see this one that's sticking to the other one? Well, that's definitely his.
You know what's hilarious about that? Like, you're trying to track down your kids who are running in every which direction. I set my children away. Like we get in the store. I'm like, go look. Mind you, one of them can't read because he's 5, and hasn't started kindergarten yet. And I'm like, please go look at books. Pick out things that you want Santa to bring you for Christmas. Get away from me.
Yeah,
I need 5 minutes to go by when someone isn't punching me in the stomach or stepping on my feet.
Well, hey, I completely understand. I was, luckily enough, Mindy kind of huddled around them whenever they would go somewhere, and that kind of left me. I ran into Evan Bevins down there, talked to him for a little bit, talked to Michael K. Easton, talked to a few guys.
So let me get this straight. While you're schmoozing with the nerd crew, your wife is trying to herd cats.
No wonder she wanted to leave, huh?
Yeah. I was like, is it clear now?
Yeah.
Are you getting it?
I see. But yeah, Jordan has a nice little setup. I mean, he has face painting out front. He had chalk for the kids to draw on the sidewalk. You know, he had a couple people dress up as superheroes out front. People were getting their pictures taken with them. And he even had a big back room. He only opens up this back room for when Free Comic Book Day occurs. You know, he has a bunch of posters laid out. He has like I'd probably say 5 or 6 TVs hooked up with video games. So the kids that come in there can sit down and play video games, or they can color. So he has a lot of stuff for the kids to do.
Is Caleb still there?
Yeah, no surprise. You know, he was definitely on the video games. That's for sure.
Caleb, go pick out a book. What you mean? Stop playing the video game?
And he was coloring too, which was pretty cool. And I'd made him bring his drawings. Caleb's a bit of an artist. He likes to draw. So Michael K. Easton actually publishes his own book. And I said, hey, why don't you go show Michael your drawings? So kind of had him sit down, and that was pretty neat to have him check that out. But so all of us got 2 comics. Jordan gives us 2 comics, and if you bring in a $1 donation or canned good, you can get a 3rd free comic book. So we all, you know, we walked away from there with 10 comics altogether. The ones I picked, I think I chose. There was one about the Tick. I don't know if you saw that one, but I got the Tick, and I got. Hold on. One of the kids got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, so I didn't have to pick that one. Oh, I got Mindy picked the Doctor Who one. What was the other one I got? Oh, I picked up the Buffy Firefly one just because.
Really?
Well, here's the reason. I was like, are they going to cross these properties over? Give me that. No, not the case. 2 stories, separate property. So anyway, just because I was a crossover fanatic, I was like, I picked that one up. I am a fan of the Whedonverse though, so I like Firefly. Don't know much about the actual series. I did love the movie, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer I watched from start to finish, so I know a lot about that. So I enjoyed that. But Kira we did buy a couple books. You know, that's the whole point of going in there, is to support your local brick and mortar store. And Kira picked up, funny enough, there was a book that she was really interested in, because Jordan has a section, you know, for, you know, here's your teen readers, here's this, here's that. Well, there was a lot of books there that caught Kira's eye, and one of them was a book called Sheets by an author by the name of Brenna Thumler. Kira takes the book. She's like, I think I'm going to get this one. I said, okay. So it's a pretty thick, it's basically a digest-sized graphic novel. Probably my best description. Turns out that lady actually had a free comic book on Free Comic Book Day. I did not know this. I don't think he had it back there in the selection. I doubt they all sold out, but I don't know. But I was just looking through what was proposed for Free Comic Book Day, and she had one. It's called Sheets, and it's about a girl who does laundry that ends up walking in, like meeting a ghost, if I remember correctly. So maybe possibly future installment here on the Source Material podcast where me and Kira will read that book and actually talk about it. We haven't done one of those in a few years. So, but anyway, we got that. And then I finally, I've been wanting to do this for a while. I finally picked up Michael K. Easton's book, The Impossible Family. He's got I think 2 or 3 issues out on that. And I've been wanting to support him for a while. I had the opportunity to buy his book, and as a matter of fact, I had him autograph it. So he's been on the podcast a long time ago. Me and him talked about, I think it was The Return. I think I had him on for The Return of Superman. Me and Pat talked the death of Superman, and me and Michael talked about The Return of Superman. So
is that before I took over scheduling your podcast?
Yes, before Mark Radulich made his appearance on the Source Material podcast. So, all right, well, let's go ahead. I guess we'll wrap things up here. I look forward to next Free Comic Book Day. It was good to have my whole family there. Colton wanted to look at every single figure and play with just about anything he could get his hands on, along with Caleb. Caleb had a great time. I can't stress this enough. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed any type of property that had anything to do with comic books, please go and support your brick and mortar store, because that's where it all began. You watch these movies on the big screen, you play a video game, you read comics, and you'll see where these characters have come from, and there is a long lineage.
Don't do what I did, which is grab the free comics and run like you stole something.
That's right. All right. Well, I think it's time we got another podcast to do. So
good night, Irene.